Good morning, everybody. I am back. And I think it's only been, as of today, 14 days since my last podcast. That's so soon for me, given the fact I've been going months without uploading. So the fur babies are in here. Stella has her squeaky cow. So hopefully she won't be squeaking on that too much, but we will see. If not, I will have to confiscate the cow from her. But they're being good girls. Luna's asleep on the carpet. Stella's playing with her cow. They're probably going to go nuts this morning though, because it is trash day for us. So at some point, since it's only 9 o'clock in the morning, our trash might be picked up. And they will go nuts. Oh well. This is the life I live. Puppy squeaker toys and barking at people driving by. But anyways, I have a very small amount of progress to kind of share this week. In part due to the fact that I was out of town for a few days. Last weekend I went down to Florida to go see my parents and move some things out of the condo. So my grandparents passed away probably over a decade ago, and so my dad inherited the condo that my grandparents had owned. And when we first moved to Florida, when I was like in the first grade, we lived there for like a year and a half while our house was in the process of being built and stuff. And so I had to go, and me and my sister went through a bunch of the things over at the condo, which is like old pottery, china, and furniture, and kitchen items and things like that, to kind of clear out some of the space, because my parents have decided to sell the condo to a developer in our area. There's not a lot of space to develop where my grandparents' condo is, and so in order for developers to build fancy condos, they kind of have to buy out older buildings, and our building is from like the late 60s, early 70s, if I'm correct. So it's been around a while. It's kind of in a little bit of rush shape, sort of. It's constantly under construction with, structural type of things that you just have to do when you have an ocean facing property that just gets hit with wind and salt and sand and storms. And so it's just becoming very expensive to upkeep. But so I think my dad made the right decision to sell our condo to this developer that's trying to buy out the building. But anyways, with that, kind of have to go and get things out of it if we want to keep it. My dad is planning on closing this summer, and so if there was anything we wanted, kind of had to go down there and get it out. I came away with like a 56-piece Christmas china set and another very large china set that had just been like sitting there at the condo as like a storage space. It's very funny. And so I had driven down last Thursday. Me and my sister kind of worked on stuff Friday and Saturday, and then I drove back last Sunday. And the drive back up to Tennessee was pretty rough. It took me a little while to kind of recoup from that. So that's why we're filming today. It is, it's Friday, the 27th of May. I'm hoping to get this podcast edited and uploaded today as well. So fingers crossed that I can get that done. I did try filming this the other day, but it was not the day. I had a horrendous migraine, and I was trying to edit a video, and I wasn't happy with how my makeup looked. So here we are again. And hopefully this filming of this episode will go a little bit better, seeing as the last time I tried filming it, I was incredibly rambly and wasn't sounding like I knew where I was going. So hopefully this one's better. But I'm not wearing any knitting today. It is hot here. The sun is finally shining. It has been raining all week. So I'm not going to wear any knitting. It is a little cool outside, and by cool I mean it's 70. So I do have a long sleeve on, but I will be changing into this probably once I'm done filming and I start doing stuff outside. I gotta go and do some gardening projects today, and I'm going to try and paint a hutch that I found the other day. I've been on the hunt for a hutch or a china cabinet or a buffet or a sideboard, something to house like china and things like that during out of season and things like that, because I do really like having Christmas china. So I finally found a very cute little hutch at an antique mall, not too far from our house actually, and it hasn't been flipped or anything like that, and so I got it for a pretty good price. It's in really good shape, but I am going to do some updating on it. I'm going to be painting the hutch kind of a matte green, and then I'm going to be adding on bright polished brass fixtures, like hardware for the knobs and things, and so I think it'll look really good. But I need to go and like kind of prep it and paint it and things, or at least kind of get started on that, because I would like to have it done and have I'm going to be using like a wax to kind of seal it, and so I need to wait for that to cure in order to put it in the house. And I'd like to have this done and in the house and storing things by the time Brandon's brother and his family come and visit us later on in June. So I need to kind of get on that. I have a lot of little projects that I need to kind of get on. So I'm going to kind of use today, since it's nice outside, to actually kind of get those things done. But so let's get started talking about knitting. I have been fairly monogamous for the most part. As you know, I have, if you've watched any of my episodes, I tend to have a lot of projects on the needles. And I do. I have, I think, over 11 projects on the needles. Good Lord. But one of the projects that I've been pretty diligently working on has been my Midcoast sweater. This is the front. And this is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass. I am knitting this out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in cast iron, Woodsmoke, and Embers. And it's just a really beautiful colorwork yoke sweater. And last episode I had finished the sleeves, and I think I'd only done just a handful of rows on the body. So I think I was somewhere around here. And then I knit for a little bit, and then where my little cinnamon roll marker is where I was when I sat down at the dealership. I think that was like somewhere like maybe Wednesday or Tuesday of last week. I went to the dealership to get my car serviced, and I put that stitch marker to kind of see how much progress I could make. I was sitting at Honda for I think 2.5 hours, and I was able to add on about an inch. And so this is not all that I did at Honda. I have picked this up since. So there's about an inch that I was doing at Honda, and then I've done a couple more rows on top of that. But this has not been really picked up a ton and a lot of progress put on it, just because I did lose, you know, like a long weekend to travel and moving things out of my parents' condo. So I have added some progress on here. I am going to endeavor moving forward to probably work on this for an hour a day. I think that that's reasonable, especially since I do like to knit first thing in the morning and I do like to knit in bed, and since I'm on just Body Island straight stockinette for however many inches, I think I'm going to try and do 30 minutes of sweater knitting in the morning and then do another 30 minutes of sweater knitting before bed. So that way then I can make some good progress on this. I am trying to get this done because my sister and I, this was one of the things that we did while I was in Florida, we booked an Airbnb for Rhinebeck this year. I'm very, very excited. And this is like kind of part of my birthday present from my sister. So I just need to book flights to see her for that weekend. My sister lives in Virginia, so I'm gonna fly to Virginia and we're gonna like road trip up to upstate New York for Rhinebeck and stay at this, I think we're in a bed and breakfast. But we're really close to the Dutchess Fairgrounds where the New York Sheep and Wool Festival is held. And then we'll road trip it back to her house and then I will fly out. But I think this will be a really fun weekend, but this is motivating me to get my sweater off of the needles and also making me want to knit all of the garments. So I am withholding the garment casting on until I get the sweater off the needles, just because I think it's very reasonable for me knowing that I will cast on with abandon, that if I want projects to be done that are like large, like a sweater, I cannot have multiples on the needles at a time. So this is getting lots of love, and I'm going to be working on it some more, especially this weekend now that we have a holiday weekend. But kind of in contrast, because I am not a monogamous knitter, I needed something else to work on. And so I casted on little perfect newborn socks by Hey Sister Yarn Company, Tabitha Gandy. I think Tabitha's the one who designed it, and but it's like through their old yarn company that they I think have it listed as designed by. But I have finished one and I have casted on the second one. This is out of Noir, which I believe Tabitha and Rachel were both pregnant at the same time, and they like released like a mini set, and they had like kind of different styles of mini sets, and I got their like neutrals mini. So there's like a really beautiful brown and like kind of a creamy oatmeal color, and this color. Stella, quit licking her ears. What the heck? That's how she got an ear infection the last time, was because she was licking her ears. Anyways, and then I think there's like one other or two other colors, like maybe a mauvey purple and like kind of a seashelly pink, but like felt very like neutral. So I casted these on because I wanted something that made me feel like I was making a lot of progress, kind of in contrast to my Midcoast sweater, which even if I put on a couple of rows, it just takes forever and it feels like I have done zero progress. So I wanted something that was going to make me feel like, wow, look at me go. So baby socks it is. I was trying to kind of trick my brain into feeling productive. But these also have another purpose. Brandon, turn your ears off for a second. I learned, I think with the last podcast, that Brandon watches my episodes, and which is super sweet. It's just funny because he doesn't craft. But anyways, Brandon, turn your ears off. This is not for you. But anyways, so this is, I think, I have a hard time keeping happy secrets to myself, especially since, you know, if I know like it's going to make someone else happy, I'd like to like share that kind of stuff. So no one tells me what they're getting anyone for like birthdays or Christmas, or else I'm like, ah! And I know that like whenever Brandon and I decide to have children, I'm not going to be able to keep it secret for very long. I probably won't be able to keep it secret for an hour. I might be able to like keep it secret until Brandon can get home from work, but that'll probably be about it. So, because I know he'd be very, very excited. He's always asking me if I'm pregnant and hoping that like I'm gonna tell him that I'm pregnant for like a birthday or like Christmas and things like that. So he's very excited about the idea of being a dad. And so I don't want to have to hold off on telling him that I'm pregnant so I could finish how I want to like announce it. And how I want to announce it is with little baby socks. So want these to be also functional baby socks, so ones that like whenever we have kids, whether I find out I'm pregnant tomorrow or 5 years from now kind of thing, they're ready. So plus I love knitting these. These are so fun. They're so cute. I have like a bunch of baby socks, mainly because I'm trying to make a Christmas baby sock garland as like little mini stockings. So I love doing these because they just make you feel like you're so speedy. And these still take me probably a lot longer than other people to knit. I'm just accepting the fact that I feel like I'm a slow knitter. I'm probably not the slowest knitter out there, but I feel very slow a lot of times. So it can take me a day to finish these. but yeah, so I've been working on that a little bit when I wanted to like knit. I was working on these a lot last week leading up to me driving down to Florida, just because I could pick it up and do a tiny bit while I was waiting for laundry to finish or something like that. And then this week, I'm not gonna have this whole pair of socks done by the time summer sock camp starts, but summer sock camp I think starts tomorrow? Yeah, it starts tomorrow. So that's the Crazy Sock Ladies summer sock knitting knit along. But I am endeavoring to clear off some needles because I am going to be participating. Most likely in the 9-inch cabin, so yes. But anyway, so I picked this back up probably yesterday, I think. These are my Kindling socks by Lindsey Fowler. This is knit out of my colorway Autumn Bonfire. This is where I was when I picked these up yesterday. That's how much I've knit on. I have about, I think, 20 more rows to go until I get to toe decreases. But these are super cute. I am knitting this out of my BFL sock base. So it's BFL, so it's got kind of like that toothy BFL feel, but they're really, really nice. I am so excited to have these off the needles, like when I actually have like the completed pair, just because I think these will be really great. I'm also, if you can't tell by how I'm dressed, I'm ready for fall. Summer has not even officially started and I'm ready for fall. It is too hot here and I want nice, crisp, cool weather and autumn leaves and all of that good stuff. But I'm excited for summer for specific reasons. I'm excited for my garden and my veggies to come out of the garden and things like that. But I am such a fall winter person, and if I could have the long days that come with summer and have the weather of late fall, I would be ecstatic. But obviously that is not how the universe works. But that's kind of it for my knitting. I have been doing some cross stitching just because it's summer. I don't want to be sitting outside and working on my big sweater a lot of times, even though I have no problem. I don't have an issue having that sitting in my lap while I'm sitting outside. My biggest thing is like sitting outside and our area just has a lot of bugs. We are very close to like the creek and the Tennessee River and stuff, and so there's a lot of bugs outside. We have a lot of mystery bugs. I have seen hornets that baffle me because they do not look like any distinguishable hornet that I can tell. I am assuming that some of them have been cicada killers, and I'm hoping that's what they are because they're huge. But they look like hornets, and bleh. I love me some honeybees, I love me bumblebees, but if you throw a wasp, a yellow jacket, or a hornet my way, I am running screaming for the hills. But all that to say, having a big sweater in your lap makes it really hard to get away. And I'd rather, I am terrified of getting stung by wasps and things like that, mainly because I do not know if I am allergic. I probably am not allergic, but I don't want to find out that I'm allergic the hard way. But all that to say, I have picked up some cross stitching. So this is the ABeeC Sampler. This is by, I think, Little House Needleworks. Oh, Country Cottage Needleworks. So I just have a little bit of the top border done, and I have made it to the midway point on this top border. So that's it, the B as in buzzing bee C sampler. And I am working up here, but I've made it to that middle B on the top, and so I was able to finally cut down my fabric. I am doing this out of some linen from the Primitive Hare. Which is Olde New England 35 count? Yeah, 35 count linen. So, it's very old looking and things like that. I love that kind of look. I showed my sister and she was like, you know your linen's dirty? And I was like, oh, it's been like dyed to look old. And she was like, oh. But, so I've been working on this a little bit, and I'm really happy to have finally been able to kind of cut off some of the excess. I'm going to be working on this a little bit this weekend, I think, too, since Brandon's birthday was earlier this month, and he went out and bought a smoker as kind of his little, like, birthday present. Not little, it's not little. But we got a smoker and did barbecue a few weekends ago right after his birthday, and we're going to do that again this weekend since it's, is it Memorial Day weekend? I always get Memorial Day and Labor Day mixed up. But so we're going to be smoking a little bit of chicken and a rack of ribs. I'm not good about eating things on the bone, so I'm probably going to have a rib and be done with it. I also can't eat a ton of ribs anyways. If you've ever had your gallbladder removed, you know why. My body does not handle fat very well. But, so that's what we're going to be up to. So we'll probably be outside, and we're supposed to have pretty nice weather this weekend. Fingers crossed it stays that way. So we'll probably be outside in the garden and outside with the puppies, and, you know, we'll be smoking food and stuff. I probably need to go to the grocery store and get some adult beverages. If you've ever had a high noon, they're really good, and I have been struggling to find them in our area again. I found them once and I don't remember where. So I'm probably going to try and go out on a hunt at some point today and go and find some high noons. Yeah, that kind of, oh, there's one more thing I was going to say. So I started my bee sampler, last week before going to Florida. Just in something easy to kind of pick back up again. I started this last spring, and I just kind of like put it in timeout because I was tired of dealing with all of the fabric. So being able to cut it down has made it a lot more manageable and a lot easier to pick up because there's not as much that I have to kind of fiddle with and manage. So, but one of the cool things that kind of came out of going to Florida was in conjunction with my parents selling the condo here soon and clearing things out of the condo, because one of the things that the condo has been used for primarily has been as like a place for guests. So me and my sister and her fiance, Brandon, and I kind of thing. But the whole point with like COVID and stuff was like, we can put you there and you have a place to stay, we can social distance, whatever, have a little bit more room. But since that will be gone, my parents are kind of renovating their house. My mom wants to now convert the upstairs into like a guest quarters. So that's what they're in the process of and stuff. So it's like our rooms are pretty much like ready to go in terms of like an upgrade, other than like my dad's things are still up there. But he's moved into the guest house now, which is it's just a guest bedroom, but it's like you have to go outside to get into the guest bedroom, and it's got like a small bathroom and a closet, and now my dad's office things. So one of the things that my mom had to do was go and clear out the closets and get all the linens that were being stored in the guest room out, which unearthed this. So I'm going to try and show this without too much glare. I can't really tell, but this is a little alphabet cross stitch type sampler thing. I have no idea who stitched this. I have no idea really what side of the family it's from. I'm sure I could ask my mom and she'd be able to kind of tell. But it says Clarissa Hamilton, age 13 years, Chester, and then there's a little bit of damage, so I don't know if it has like a state abbreviation. And then August 39. So I think a few people in my family know how to cross stitch. Like I think my sister knows how to cross stitch, but needlepoint is much more the activity that everyone does. Like my dad knows how to needlepoint. My mom needlepoints all the time. My sister needlepoints. I needlepoint. My grandparents have needlepointed, and so I was kind of like, well, if no one wants this, I'll take it off your hands, because I kind of like the old cross stitch looking patterns and things like that. And so yeah, that's how I ended up with this. I just need to find a little home for it, and by home for it I mean somewhere to hang it on the wall in my kind of office craft room. But that's kind of it for the knitting stuff. I am going to do a little shop updatey type of info here, but if you don't really care to watch that, that's fine. But StellaLuna Fiber Co. does have an update coming up. We will be updating, I say we, I and the fur babies, I guess, will be updating the shop on June 1st. With a summer collection that is inspired by the condo that my parents are selling, and kind of just like growing up in Florida and like summer nostalgia kind of thing. And that was kind of what was inspiring it, because I was thinking about all of like the memories I have at the condo, and you know, like the things that I love doing, and what it was like kind of like growing up and visiting my parents. And not visiting my parents, visiting my grandparents in Florida when I was a very, very small child before we moved there and stuff. And like my mom's whole side of the family is from Florida, and we moved my dad's family down to Florida. And so like it just has a lot of memories and things. So like this is a very special kind of collection for me, because I'm thinking a lot about these places and things that are going to be, I can still go and visit a lot of these places, but the experience will be different than how it was for me growing up and up until like kind of this point with like visiting and stuff. And you know, like even if I didn't stay at the condo when going to visit, I still almost always made a trip to the condo and went to the beach and was there really, really early in the morning to watch the sunrise. And like it's just a really beautiful place. It's on the southern tip of Jupiter Island. This condo is like very, very old, as I was saying earlier and stuff. And you know, so it's not like this swanky oceanfront condo kind of thing. Like our condo was nice. My parents spent money renovating it before my grandparents passed, due to it just being old and carpet in the kitchen and in the bathrooms that needed to go and needed a fresh coat of paint and needed some updates to make it more of a usable space. So like our condo looks really nice in my opinion, but you know, like the building's been around for a really long time and stuff. So like when I was a small girl going to this place, it was, you know, like 70s wallpaper and shag carpeting everywhere, and you know, like bright, funky colors that were like kind of neutral in a weird way, and like weird patterns. And so it was like nothing, it was like going into a time capsule going there when I was little, which was like an interesting experience. But yeah, like I remember like doing a bunch of things on the beach with my parents. I remember playing mermaids in the pool and like snorkeling in like the shallow little water break, like right in the front where like all the shells would collect and stuff like that. So long-winded story to say that this is a special collection to me. I'm not going to show everything. I'm just going to show the colors that I've already announced, and then probably a color that I'm going to announce today on Instagram. So if you want to see everything else, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. There's 11 colors, and today is day 4 of me announcing colors. And so there's a lot more to come than just what I'm showing you right now. But the first color that I announced is this one. This is Mangrove Estuaries. This is inspired by this little area over in Du Bois Park, in like the Juneau, Jupiter area. There's like kind of, that whole area is like where like the Loxahatchee River meets the ocean. So you have a lot of like this like kind of brackish water. You have a lot of mangroves. You can go paddleboarding on the river and on the intercoastal and stuff, and like rent kayaks and stuff like all in this area. It's a very like outdoor activity friendly kind of area. And Du Bois Park has this little section that's called like the Blue Lagoon, and then like the Blue Lagoon connects back into kind of this mangrovey area. And you always see like really cool things. My sister and I have seen a manatee in this little section of the mangroves. You see sea turtles, you see lots of cool fish. Estuaries are where a lot of fish in our area spawn, and you'll sometimes see small sharks, and you'll see cool shells and things like that, and cool birds. And so that's kind of what this is inspired by, because there's like a lot of this like foliage. You have like these leggy mangrove kind of like knees poking out into the water. There's a lot of green, there's a lot of like beautiful teal colors. And so that's like the first colorway that I announced. The second one I announced is called Mermaid Tails, and this is inspired by kind of playing mermaids in the pool, and like, I don't know, I feel like this is like a universal childhood experience if you like liked swimming as a child, but getting like the little dive rings and slipping your feet through them and swimming around in the pool pretending that you're a mermaid. That's kind of what this is inspired by, along with like as I was saying earlier, I really liked swimming kind of like right along the edge of the shoreline, and like hunting for seashells and looking at cool fish and stuff like that. And that was like an experience that always made me feel like a mermaid. And so that's Mermaid Tails. And then the color that I announced yesterday is Blowing Rocks. Blowing Rocks Preserve is like a really beautiful public beach. It's got these beautiful rock formations, and the water is usually very, very beautiful. Even now as an adult, when I was there this past weekend, like something that my family always does is if we're at the condo and we're at the beach, we always walk up to Blowing Rocks and back, which is like probably like a little bit over a mile walk. But it's always a lot of fun. Part of Blowing Rocks is there's like more like eroded rocks as well, kind of as you walk up to Blowing Rocks, that are usually covered in sand a lot of the year, like during the winter time when the water is really high and there's a lot of sand covering a lot of the beach. Well, not a lot of the beach. There's a lot of water covering a lot of the beach, but there's a lot of sand that gets pushed up through the winter time just because the waters are a lot rougher. And but during the summertime, you get like these huge beaches, and the tide goes really far out, and through that, like a lot of the sand that's covering a lot of the older rocks gets pulled back. And so there's like this one place that I loved going as a little girl, and it was always, when we were there during the summertime, you'd have to like kind of hunt for it, but we called it the bathtub. And it was basically this little rock formation right before you got to Blowing Rocks that was a little bit out, but if you were out there at low tide, it would just be this little pool of water surrounded by a bunch of rocks and a little bit of sand on the bottom and stuff, and like you could just sit out there and like play in it like it's a little kiddie pool. And so like I have a ton of fond memories like doing that kind of stuff, and like the water was always beautiful and teal, and just it was just gorgeous. But those are the colorways that I have announced so far. And then let me grab, so the collection is kind of, I would say kind of divided into like two groups. So half of the collection is a lot of like really beautiful blues and teals, and then the other half is like brighter, punchier colors. So I think what I might do, because between now and June 1st there's not a lot of time, I'm going to be posting double post this weekend of colors. So just so I can get them all announced in time. But so the colors to look out for today, the first one is Ocean Potion, which is inspired by the sunscreen I grew up wearing as a small child. The smell of Ocean Potion is like such a distinct smell that like triggers memory for me. And so this is kind of inspired by that, and kind of like the colors that I think of when I think of like the Ocean Potion bottle. Feels a little mystical and fun and like kind of mysterious, kind of like the ocean is. There's it's like kind of a pink base with like this like kind of neon purple going through it, and then there's a hot pink and like a bright aqua speckling going on. So this is, which I'll show, you can see some of the blue a little bit better there, but it's really fun. And this is one of like the more punchy colorways that I have. And then the other one is Burn and Freckle. That's always been a joke for me. I don't burn and tan, which that's what my husband does. He goes out and gets sunburnt and it turns into a tan. I stay just as pale. I just turn bright red and then I get freckles, and that's it. But Burn and Freckle is just this fun, bright, peachy tonal. I really love this. And so yeah, that'll be colorways that I'll be announcing today. So that will kind of depend on whether or not you see this video today or not, but that'll be what's announced today as of the 27th of May. And yep. So that's it for shop updates. If y'all have any questions about this, don't hesitate to ask down below. I will be carrying all of these on various bases. I do believe I said before that I do dye to order. So my turnaround time is listed as potentially being really long. But as of right now, my turnaround time is about like a week tops, if not sooner. It kind of depends on what I have in stock right now on Bear Yarn. But the other big shop news thing is that with this summer collection being released, I will be taking down all of the winter colorways So if you want any holiday, Christmassy, winter colorways, now is the time to get it. I'm going to be announcing that over on Instagram in my stories, but come June 1st, when this collection goes live, all of the winter colorways will be down. Just so there's not just a plethora of things just out there and available, so I can keep things a little bit more manageable on my end. But yeah, that kind of concludes everything. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I'm very excited that I am hopefully going to be moving forward podcasting a little bit more frequently than I have in the past. But yeah, I post a lot on Instagram, so if you're curious to see what I'm working on or see progress shots, I do post there. My Ravelry for the most part is fairly up to date. So yeah, so feel free to follow me. I will be participating in the summer sock camp, so there'll be even more socks casted on. But yeah, I'm just rambling now, so I'm just gonna say goodbye. Thank you for watching.